Okay. This is very weird because I don't actually have noise canceling headphones. So, and also my desk is a mess. So, me trying to move everything around to record this is kind of wild. Well, anyway, hello, welcome to, gosh, semicolons and some thoughts. This is basically just gonna be me saying stuff and you guys listening to it. Yeah, it's the only podcast out there where you can do that, where you can hear someone talk and you'll listen to it. This is the only podcast where you can do that. All other podcasts just don't exist. Oh my gosh, I hate myself. Okay, so this is just basically gonna be me introducing myself. I honestly kind of suck at talking, so yeah. Basically, it's gonna be me talking while I eat some chocolate mousse, so you're gonna get some ASMR. Sorry if you can hear our mini fridge in the background. I have no idea. I haven't even checked audio quality in this room or whatever, and you can probably hear people in my dorm walking around and whatever. But so basically, I'm Elizabeth. I am 18 years old, almost 19. Why do I always feel the need to flex my age? It's not even that big of a deal. I'm in college. I don't need to be like, oh my gosh, I'm turning 19. Happy birthday to me in 2 months. Bro, chill. So anyway, yeah, my parents are both doctors. And I was raised in Boston for the first 7 years of my life, and then in East Africa until I moved back to the States for college. So, yeah, I have a pretty, kind of, it's not really all over the place because I know there are plenty of other people out there who have moved multiple times throughout their lives, but, it's still, my sense of home is still something that I'm trying to figure out. So, yeah, that's kind of, been part of my journey, I guess. So, I don't really know how to go into this next segment, so basically I'm just gonna talk about what I'm interested in and whatever. Gosh, I'm so bad at this already. It's because this isn't the stuff that I'm interested in. Once we get to the good stuff, yeah, whatever. Anyway, once we get to the good stuff, I'll be a lot more enthusiastic. It's just I really hate introducing myself. Yeah. So anyway. Okay, so I'm gonna start off by talking about dance and music. I love dance and music so much. So ever since I was little, I've done dance. When I was 3, I think 3.5, my parents had me start taking dance lessons, which was absolutely fantastic. I mean, not that I remember it, but if I did remember it, I'm sure I would think it was amazing. I did ballet and tap, which was very cute, little tiny tap shoes. But yeah, and so I did that from when I was 3 to when I was 7, and then we moved to Kenya, and then yeah, I didn't have any lessons again until 8th grade. So in 3rd grade we went back to Boston, and I took gymnastics that year that we were back in the States, and then in 8th grade I took ballet and lyrical dance again because I decided gymnastics really wasn't my thing because I kind of gave up on it. After 3rd grade I was like, okay, gymnastics is fun, but dance is way more my thing. So yeah, so I got back into dance in 8th grade, and then I kept teaching myself, and then when I started going to boarding school in 10th grade, there was a dance teacher there, but she wasn't really a dance teacher. She was one of the staff, and so she didn't have a ton of time to actually teach dance or whatever, but she did teach. She once a week we would get together, me and a few other girls would meet with her to do dance, so that was really fun, but it was a lot less technical ballet than what I wanted to do. So I've ended up teaching myself how to do point, which is kind of crazy, very painful, and I really hope I don't completely screw up my joints and whatever by doing stuff wrong, but I'm here now still, so yeah. To go along with my love of dance, I love music. I've sung since I was little. I was in my first musical at age 7. It was a little Christmas musical. Kind of cute, kind of cringe, very cringe actually, but honestly adorable. And I played a girl whose name was Elizabeth, which was really cool. And I had my first solo, so yeah, that was really fun. Nowadays I sing alto, which is very different from when I was younger. I actually like wanted to be a soprano so bad, and then I got to high school and I was like, dang, okay, I don't want to be a soprano. They sing really high. Like, I wish I could sing that high, but then again, it's more fun to sound like a guy. Yeah. So I sing and I play ukulele. I've been playing ukulele since I was 12. So I'm not just... Okay, I was gonna roast basic girls. Okay, no. I don't want to roast basic girls because obviously I want to support all women regardless of what they do, but I'm not one of those people who only knows Riptide on the ukulele. Like, I can play bar chords and like I actually play it as an instrument, not just like as like a hobby. So anyway, and like I'm not like fantastic and I can't do like finger picking and whatever, but I wish I could, and I'm gonna try to learn more of that like as I go through college and whatever. Yeah, and I used to play piano, not very well, and I also used to try to play guitar, but also not very well. I don't know, ukulele is way more my thing because it's like my size, because I'm a very small person. I'm only 5'1". So, yeah, so guitars are just generally kind of too big for me. Like, my body just literally, like, when I'm sitting down, I literally just cannot hold a guitar. So, unless it's like our half size, which I'm very glad we have that. But yeah, so that's me and my instruments. I'm gonna put my Instagram, my music Instagram account in the description of the podcast. So that way you guys can go check it out if you want to. I don't know why I'm saying you guys, like as if anyone except my friends who already follow me are gonna listen to this. But anyway, okay. So another thing I'm super like interested in is writing, mostly creative writing, but I also do like, I guess this is still creative, but I like creative nonfiction. It's pretty cool just like to be able to create worlds and stuff. I've always loved like creating stories and having imaginary friends, as dumb as that sounds, but honestly I'm trying not to shame myself for it because it really is a coping mechanism. Yeah, so I'll still, to this day, I will, like, have conversations with imaginary people, or people who are real, but just my imaginary version of them, which is probably unhealthy, but it's not usually with people, like, I actually know in real life. It's usually with, like, celebrities. No, okay, not really celebrities. Like, actors. Broadway actors, mainly. But, yeah, I don't know. So, it could be a bad thing, but, yeah, like, yeah, I don't know. But yeah, kind of like putting that like along with my writing, I just have always had an active imagination, and so yeah, so I've started using that to write stories and books and fan fiction. Don't laugh at me. Okay, you can laugh at me because I'm laughing at myself about the fact that I write fan fiction, but it's good. That slaps. Like, fan fiction slaps. And there's some really good fan fiction out there, like, not to shame fanfiction authors because I am one of them. But yeah, so that's mainly what I write. I'm currently working on a realistic fiction book about college students. That sounds so dumb. That sounds really dumb. Anyway, but yeah, and I've written a different book. It's like a sci-fi book that was based off Star Wars. Speaking of Star Wars, another thing I'm very interested in is fandoms. So I tend to get very passionate and like obsessed with like I have like hyperfixations, and so, and I've always had this since I was younger. Like, I would just get obsessed with like one specific thing and just like fixate on that thing for like a full year or even longer. And so I'm currently, actually no, let's go through my history of fandoms. So I started like really getting into fandoms. I'm trying to think. Well, I mean, I guess you could say that, like, I'm trying to think. Wreck-It Ralph, Lego Movie. Those were like some of my first like fandoms, but like I never really got into the fandom. Okay, they're like kids movies. There aren't really fandoms for the. Okay, that's a lie. I take that back. There are fandoms for kids movies, but like, yeah, Frozen like fandom was pretty big for me. Yeah, and then I like started getting into more real fandoms. Okay, yeah, I don't know. I say real fandoms, but then I'm like, okay, like I'm not gonna roast people for like having like an obscure fandom, I guess. Cause I get that, cause who the heck is part of the Lego Movie fandom? Yeah, and I literally wrote fan fiction about it. Um, yeah, that was a stage in my life. Yeah, so in 8th grade I got into the My Little Pony fandom, which is probably like my first like big fandom, like well-known fandom. And then end of 8th grade I watched my first Star Wars movie. Sorry, there are people outside. Can y'all be quiet? Anyway, so at the end of 8th grade I watched my first Star Wars movie, and I was like, oh dang, I love this. And so yeah, so 9th grade, up until like the middle of sophomore year, I was absolutely obsessed with Star Wars, and I still like it to this day, but like, not gonna lie, Rise of Skywalker kind of ruined it for me. I don't know. I have a lot of different perspectives on some of the things like going on in the sequel trilogy now, and so anyway, I'll talk about that in a later episode. But yeah. So the Star Wars fandom was one of my like first like kind of more like adult fandoms, I guess. Like My Little Pony, yeah, that's its own thing. Bronies are their own category, but yeah, so me being in the Star Wars fandom was like super fun. I absolutely loved it. I mean, because we lived in Africa, I never got to be in any like go to any Comic Cons or anything, but I would dress up as characters all the time just based on like what I had in my closet and whatever. Um yeah, and then I got into Marvel in the middle to end of my sophomore year. Yeah, and that lasted until junior year, like end of junior year. And I still like all these things. I just like I'm not fixated on them. Yeah, sophomore year I also got into my emo phase. I can't believe, like, okay, it definitely is a fandom. Like, there's lore, there's like all this stuff. Like, everyone knows the drama of like the bands and whatever. So, yeah, so the emo fandom really is a thing. And so I was part of that. Like, I was one of those people who was like, oh my gosh, you only know Stressed Out. That's the only 21 Pilots song you know. Yeah, you're a fake fan. Yeah, I just hate myself for having done that now because, like, that's so toxic. Like, that's something that nowadays, like, that's gatekeeping a fandom. Like, oh my gosh. And gatekeeping is such a problem in, like, any fandom. Like, being like, oh, you're not, like, a real fan, whatever. I don't know. It just makes me mad when people do that. And, like, I know it's ridiculous to get, like, that upset or whatever. But, like, I definitely do get that upset. Because it's ridiculous. Like, you don't need to be gatekeeping something. If something brings you joy and if something is like fun for you, then go ahead. Like, enjoy that. Even if it's only one song. Like, I'm like, oh, Seven Rings by Ariana Grande kind of slaps, but like, I wouldn't say I'm like an Ari stan or anything. Like, yeah, you don't have to be like absolutely obsessed to appreciate something or to enjoy something. So anyway, that's my little rant about my emo phase. I wish I hadn't been such a gatekeeper, but at the same time, it was because the music was so deeply connected to my like emotional state at the time, it was kind of a way of guarding myself. Because if people said they didn't like the music, and my friend Talia knows this very well, that if like people said they didn't like the music that I liked, I would take it personally. I would say, oh, they don't like this music because of how emotional it is, but this is how I feel emotionally, and so, like, basically it felt like them invalidating my emotions by saying they didn't like my music, which is ridiculous, but, I mean, it makes sense, but, yeah, it's just taking it a bit far. So, anyway, that was my emo phase, and then from like the end of my junior year to the present is the Broadway fandom, which again, it's like one of those things that you're like, oh my gosh, the Broadway fandom, really? Theater kids, really? But yes. So yeah, so currently I'm really into all kinds of musicals. I mean, I've always loved the classics because I grew up on them. So like Mary Poppins, Bedknobs and Broomsticks. Okay, I don't know why that came to mind. That's super obscure, but like Sound of Music. Um, yeah, like old musicals. But then I also love like the newer musicals, especially the ones about high schoolers, like Dear Evan Hansen, Be More Chill, Mean Girls, Heathers. I love Heathers. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So I will do definitely episodes. I'm planning on like doing some analysis of some of the shows and also just like kind of talking in general about Broadway stuff. So, yeah, and then, yeah. So then, like, I guess the last, like, one of my main interests that I wanted to talk about was my interest in psychology and personality typing. So, I honestly don't remember when I got into psychology. Like, my mom says it's in 8th grade. But I do not remember liking psychology in 8th grade. Like, my mom was like, oh yeah, you started getting obsessed with personality tests in 8th grade. And I'm like, when? Girl, when? Like, yeah, I don't know. Like, I just do not remember. I remember in 9th grade taking a personality test, but I feel like by that point I already knew my personality type, and I don't know why. Like, we might have had to take Myers-Briggs type indicator in school, but I legitimately do not remember. So it was sometime around 8th grade I got interested in psychology. And now I'm currently a psychology major. Yeah, oh my gosh, I love psychology so much. Like, truly, like, oh my gosh, especially the research aspect of it. I'm taking a statistics class this semester, and it's just been fantastic to see, like, I don't know. I think I'm gonna go into research psychology. My psychiatrist was like, like, if you like statistics, that is like such a rare thing to be interested in. You have to go into like research psychology, like look into that if that's something you're really interested in. So yeah, I'm hoping to go into a career in research psychology or potentially being a therapist, but I don't know. I mean, like, I enjoy talking to people about like their like mental health and stuff, but I also am like, I don't know. I also am so interested in like finding out new things and whatever that I think research psychology would be a really good fit for me. Um yeah, and just like also like having had personal experience with like mental health issues, it's just so fascinating how people's brains work. Yeah, if you can't tell, this is the kind of thing I'm passionate about, and so like I'm getting more excited as this episode goes on for sure. Um yeah, so yeah, psychology is just one of my passions, and I'm I'm so excited to be studying it, and I'm so thankful that I'm privileged enough to go to college because I know there are so many people out there who aren't able to study what they're passionate about because they just can't afford to go to college, or they just don't have the access to resources, especially in this time of COVID. I'm just so thankful that I'm able to even be on campus, at least for now. We're getting our COVID test results back soon, so I'm a little scared. But yeah, I'm very thankful for the opportunity to be able to study psychology and potentially add a dance major, which would be really, really fun. So yeah. Okay, so now this is really dumb, but I didn't know how to make this episode like longer or whatever. I was like, I'm not doing like a 2 minute long episode. Like, oh, bro. I just realized how long I've already been recording. What the heck? Well, anyway, okay. Yeah. So basically now I'm just gonna do these dumb, like, getting to know you questions from from like womenshealthmagazine.com or whatever. Which is so stupid, but I mean, they are good questions, but what the heck? Bro, what? I'm literally so confused about what that was. Okay, someone at my door just made a weird noise. Anyway, I'm doing these get to know you questions. Yeah, I'm just gonna start talking. Okay. So question 1, what type of music are you into? I kind of already talked about this. Musical theater, obviously. I still love emo music, so like My Chemical Romance, Panic at the Disco, although I don't want to support him because, you know, he's a bad person, but his music kind of slaps. I've just gotten really into water parks. I know they're not really emo, they're like alt rock or whatever. Yeah, so like alternative rock mostly. I like indie pop too, like indie, like acoustic pop, and then like some like just basic average pop. Like, I mean, I feel like as a teenager you're kind of obligated to at least know some of the music of your generation and of like the year. So yes, I do know some songs, mainly because of TikTok and just like social media and whatever. I don't actually usually listen to pop, but like if you played me a pop song from 2020, I could be like, hey, I know that one from that TikTok with Charlie D'Amelio or something. She's not even that popular anymore. Anyway, that's a whole nother thing. Okay, number 2, where's the next place on your travel bucket list and why? Spain, because I was supposed to go there senior year, but then because of COVID, it got canceled. So I really wanted to go there. I've never been to a Spanish-speaking country, but I do speak Spanish. Okay, not that well anymore. Just I like to flex that I took AB Spanish, but I actually am like kind of bad at speaking Spanish. I can read and write, but I cannot speak, and my vocabulary has diminished for sure. So anyway, I want to go to Spain. I want to go to Paris. Anyone who gets that reference, oh my gosh. Basically, if you don't get it, just look up Genius Backpack Kid IB Flossin interview. Oh my gosh, it's iconic. Anyway, what was the last thing you read? So the last full nonfiction thing I read, I'm doing full things because I've read like parts of books and stuff, but then I like never finish or whatever. But so the last full nonfiction book I read was The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks. It's about a Black woman whose cells were used for research and kind of the impacts of that on her family and on the world. So yeah, it's absolutely amazing. I would highly recommend it. Like, the scientific writing in it isn't too technical, and it mainly focuses on like the narrative of her daughter dealing with kind of the aftermath of her mother's death. So it's super cool. You should definitely check that out. And then the last full fiction book I read, as far as I know, it's Brainjack by, I want to say Brian Faulkner, but I'm not positive. But it's basically about like, it's like a futuristic dystopian sci-fi, but it's not really dystopian. It's like realistically future. Like it could literally be America in like 2050. But yeah, it's like about like hackers and like this AI network that like ends up like taking over because it's connected to like people's brains. It's crazy. It's super cool. A little bit like Be More Chill. Which is also, well, okay, I've never read the book, but I've seen the musical and I've seen the play. So yeah, but Brainjack, I think, by Brian Faulkner. He also wrote this book called The Tomorrow Code. So if you look up either of those books, I feel like it might come up. Yeah, so that's the last thing I read. Number 3, what's my favorite ice cream? Oh, oops, number 4. You know what, all these numbers are just messed up. I'm just gonna like keep going. So number whatever. What's your favorite ice cream topping? Hot fudge goes hard. Like, never fails to go hard. It's just, oh my gosh. I love it so much. Okay. Next question. What was the last TV show you binge watched? Probably Nailed It. It's a baking show on Netflix of people who really can't bake, and it's a very entertaining. We watched it with our family. Oh, no. I also watched Worst Cooks in America. That was also with my family. Is it Worst Cooks in America? I think that's what it's called, but oh my gosh. I love watching shows where people can't cook and they're forced to cook. It's very funny. I mean, I would hate it if I was in the situation, but I'm not, so it's funny. Yeah. Okay. Are you into podcasts or do you only listen to music? I mean, I wouldn't be making a podcast if I hated podcasts. But yes, I listen to both. I love listening to podcasts. Like, I'll sometimes, like, often, this is super sad, but I get really, like, lonely and stuff, and so sometimes I'll just put podcasts in on the, like, in the background. I'll just put them in the background, like, and just listen to them. Like, I won't even, like, actually be listening to the words. I'll just be listening to them. Just to kind of have background noise of someone as if someone's talking to me, which is horribly sad, and I know that, but it helps a little bit. I don't know. I just, recently it's been really hard for me to, like, sit in a silent room with my own thoughts, so it's just easier for me to, like, put on podcasts. So some podcasts I really like are C.S. Joseph. He talks a lot about personality typing. I think it's called Lavender Lifestyle Podcast. She's a YouTuber, but she, I don't know, she just has, like, lifestyle stuff, and I don't know, her voice is really calming, so, I haven't listened to her more recently, but, the Adventures in Odyssey podcast, oh, I forgot to mention that in my fandoms, but yeah, I love Adventures in Odyssey, so much, so I'll listen to, like, the podcast, like, that's by the producers talking about, like, how they make the show, and then I'll also listen to the show, which isn't really a podcast, it's an audio drama, but still. And then Very Really Good by Curtis Connor, just because I like to laugh at dumb things, and he talks about a lot of really funny things, and his comedy is just perfect. And then, also Jumping in an Elevator by Mike's Mike, another really funny one. He just talks about questions that people can't bother searching themselves, which is kind of iconic, not gonna lie. Like, if he hadn't had that idea first, I would have probably snatched it up, because that's kind of fun. So yeah, those are some of my favorite podcasts, and I already talked about my favorite music. Okay. Do you have a favorite holiday? Why or why not? Yes. I don't know why that's like a why or why not question. Like, if you just want to say, oh, I like all holidays equally, that's like a good enough of a reason. You don't really have to explain yourself. But my favorite holiday is Halloween, because it's my birthday. So yeah, we love a good Halloween birthday. Oh my gosh, I just thought of that Vine where the girl's like, it's frickin' bats. I love Halloween. That's me on my birthday every single year, like, without fail. Yeah. So Halloween is my favorite holiday. Christmas is probably my second favorite because, we eat a ton of good food on Christmas, and, like, that's when, like, our, like, in Kenya is when we'll, like, have people over, because the rest of our extended family obviously lives in the States, but oh my gosh, I, like, lost my train of thought. Oh, anyway, yeah. My gosh. Yeah, so basically, yeah, we have people over at Christmas. My gosh, my brain. My intellectual mind is not working too well today. So basically, yeah, we'll have people over on Christmas because our extended family doesn't live in Kenya, but then when we're in the States, we get to see our extended family on Christmas, which is really cool. So yeah. What's your favorite quote from a TV show / movie / book? Oh my gosh, bro, there's so many, so many. Like, from a lot of my favorites are from Broadway musicals, but that's just because that's what I'm obsessed with right now. But there are so many good ones from like so many different things. Um, Today You're You and That's Enough from Dear Evan Hansen gets me every single time. Like, dang. Oh my gosh, it hits so hard. Um, of all the voices in my head, the loudest one is mine from Be More Chill. That's another really, really good one. Um, and then I can't quote it directly because I don't have the book in front of me. It's on my bookshelf over there. I can like literally see it. But the last paragraph of The Great Gatsby, it's like, so we keep like moving ceaselessly, beating towards like the horizon. Like basically, it's like talking about how we can keep reaching for like the American dream, but ultimately we're always like just reaching for it. Like we're like essentially we're never gonna attain perfection, which I think is like super cool. Like that we can like I don't even know how to describe it. I'm so bad at describing this. Bro, where are my AP English skills when I need them? But yeah, so I yeah. I don't know. I just love it. Just go read it. Go read the whole book of The Great Gatsby. I used to be obsessed with it. I kind of still am. Like every time I like reread it, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so good. But yeah, so yeah, just go read it. I can't explain it very well. Okay, do you have any pet peeves? Yes. I can never think of specific things, but then like when things come up, I'm like, oh my gosh. People leaving the door open when they come into my room and then they leave. I'm like, bro, just close the door. Like it's not that hard. Um, that's so rude. I'm so sorry. I just apologize as if I'm talking to a real person in real life. Um, so if I've ever told you to like, if I've ever gotten mad at you for not closing my door, I'm sorry. But it does really make me mad. Um, that repetitive noises. Oh my gosh, like I lose my mind at repetitive noises. They just make me so angry. And then people being entitled. Oh my gosh. Girl, if I could not work in customer service. Like my mom and I have talked about this. Like if there was like a Karen or whatever being entitled, that would be it. Like I would lose my job, but she would lose her life. Like like that is truly how I feel about entitled people. Like it's it's not just your world. You don't own it. You don't own this place. You don't control other people's lives. Calm down and worry about yourself. Like, oh my gosh, it just makes me so mad. Um, like, obviously, like, entitled people, not like people being not like when black people are like, oh hey, can we be treated like with basic human decency? Like, no, of course that doesn't make me mad. Like, okay, I just said no like right after saying that. That's not what I meant. Oh god, like people like if people are asking to be treated like with like if they're asking to be oh my gosh, I'm so like mad that I can't even think straight. If they're asking for basic human rights, of course they deserve that. Everyone deserves like a like there is just a base level of how you should treat another person, and if people are asking for that, that's not being entitled. But if people are like, oh my gosh, yeah, like I wasn't like happy with like my meal or whatever, girl, then why'd you eat all of it, huh? Like, oh my gosh, things like that just make me mad. And I think it's like partially because I grew up in like a third world like culture where food is like so scarce and resources are so scarce that like you have to be grateful for what you have, and you have to like just accept what you have. So it's really hard when I see like people in like first world countries um who are like, oh, you're like, I don't like this, so that means I deserve something better. Like rather than I'm lucky to have this, I will accept what I can get. So anyway, that's my pet peeves. I got pretty upset about that one. Okay. What song always gets you out on the dance floor? Sincerely Me from Dear Evan Hansen is like the first one that comes to mind. I like doing the like little like knee swivel dance the other day when I was like cleaning, because I work cleaning bathrooms on campus, and so I was like working in the bathroom and I almost fell because I was listening to Sincerely Me and dancing. So there was that. And then obviously any other like iconic bops, like Africa by Toto, anything by Queen, Check Yes Juliet by oh shoot, is it All Time Low? I think it's All Time Low. I'm gonna get roasted by punk pop fans. And then any like My Chemical Romance bops, Twin Pilots bops, just any like solid songs that I've listened to for like a long time. Oh my gosh, anything by Green Day goes hard. Holiday will never fail to slap, and same with American Idiot. Okay, next question. How have I been talking for so long? I can't talk this long in real life. Okay. When you were a kid, did you eat the crust on your sandwich or not? Yes. Bro, I ate my crust. Like, first of all, because my mom never let me get away with not eating crust. Like, she was like, eat your crust. There's nothing wrong with it. And then also, crust kind of slaps. Like, I know that's... Like, why would I say something so controversial yet so brave? Don't know, but crust is good. So... hit me up with that pizza crust if you're someone who doesn't like pizza crust, because I love that stuff. Okay. Ideally, how would you spend your birthday? Probably just with a few close friends who really like understand me and know me. I don't really want a ton of attention except from the people who I know like really love me. I would love to be able to visit like all my like really, really close friends who are like scattered throughout multiple different countries currently. I would just love to see them like all together on my birthday, which would be fantastic. Yeah, and then I'd spend a lot of the time like on my own, but like dancing and doing stuff just like I enjoy. And then knowing that like people were also there for me on my birthday, like just like my few friends. So, like, alternating my time on my birthday between being with my few friends who really love me and being by myself. And so knowing that even when I am by myself, like, spending my time by myself, I'm not alone. Because I know they're there. Like, yeah. I think that would be really nice for me. Yeah, so hopefully this year my birthday will be something enjoyable. Last year my birthday was rough, and I'll talk about that in a later episode, but yeah, there was just so much like going on emotionally in my life at the time that my 18th birthday was kind of awful, not gonna lie. So hopefully I can make up for that with my 19th birthday, which is hopefully going to be an absolute party. Just kidding, I can't even drive. I don't even have a license. I'm talking about getting hype for my birthday. I can't even drive anywhere. Can't even bring myself to the grocery store to pick up anything for my birthday. Okay. Have you ever liked something then changed, or disliked something then changed your mind? Pop music. I used to hate it. That was back in my like emo phase. I was like, pop music is the worst. If you listen to pop music, you're a shallow, boring human being. I'm like an intellectual. Get on my level. But now I'm like, I mean, okay, it goes hard. Like, I don't love it, and often like the messages just kind of aren't great. But yeah, I mean, like what you like. Honestly, just go for it. Okay. Do you sleep with a top sheet? Why or why not? Okay, so in Kenya, for a while, my answer was no, just because I slept on the top bunk, and I was like, bro, I'm not dealing with this. And so I didn't. And then I moved to boarding school, and so I started, like, actually making my bed and stuff, and so I slept with a top sheet. And nowadays, in the States, I sleep with a top sheet, because if it gets too hot, like, I can't sleep without something covering, like, my body, and just, like, feel super uncomfortable. Okay, that's not true. Sometimes if it gets, like, way too hot, especially because our house here doesn't have air conditioning, then I will have to. Sorry, my eating sounds are gross. Um, but anyway, then I will have to sleep without a top sheet, but usually I just have a top sheet just, like, kind of on my bed. So that way, in case, like, I get too hot, like, I'll still have something over my body. But, I especially need something over my feet. Like, I don't know why. Just, like, I think it's just that the monsters will come after your toes. And, like, I've known that from a young age. Like, they'll come for you. Like, they don't care, like, really about your hand being off the bed. Like, you can put your hand off the bed. They won't come for that. Like, it's your legs. Like, I don't know why. So, anyway, I have to have something covering my legs. And I also have to sleep with socks on. Like, that's another controversial opinion. I feel like a lot of people are like, why would you sleep with socks on? I have to have socks on. Like, I literally hate walking around with no socks on. Like, just in general, I need socks. Like, feet just gross me out. Anyway. Okay, now questions about family. How much time do you spend with your family? A lot. Possibly too much. We're all very weird. Because we spend a lot of time together, especially because of COVID now, so we're spending a ton of time together. I mean, now that I'm at college, obviously I'm not, but I call them almost every night, which is, like, a lot of college kids, I feel like, are like, I'm not gonna call my parents unless they, like, call me first or whatever. I'm like, I can't go, like, more than a few days without calling my family, just because first of all, I feel really bad because my mom is like, oh my gosh, if, like, she's not calling, something's wrong. Oh my gosh. Mama, if you're listening to this, I'm sorry. I'm kind of like, I know you always say, like, oh, I don't, like, worry about you or whatever, but it feels like you do. So, like, that's why I call. And yeah, and honestly, like, my family is my emotional support system, like, really, truly. So I have to talk to them. So yeah. Do I want a family of my own? I want a significant other, but no kids. Unless they're adopted teenagers. That's, like, super unusual. Okay, maybe not the not wanting kids thing, but, like, the wanting to adopt teenagers, like, specifically wanting to adopt teenagers. I don't really get along with kids that well. I mean, that might change, but I just kind of don't, like, kids are cute, but then, like, they just act like little monsters. I'm like, yeah, like, I love my younger brother so much, but, like, it's just so, like, raising a child is so difficult. And I'm not saying that, like, I had to raise my younger brother. Like, obviously I didn't. My parents did, but my sister and I did help, like, take care of him and stuff. And it's just such a pain. Like, I'm sure, like, if you have a kid, you're like, oh my gosh, I love my child so, or you should be. If you're not, then there's something wrong, but you should be like, oh, I love my child so much, I want to take care of them, and this is just part of, like, and I'm willing to sacrifice because I love them. But yeah, so I just don't, I mean, maybe this is just me being selfish, but I don't know if I could make that sacrifice for a whiny, crying child. Now, for a teenager who maybe whose parents abandoned them, I would love to, like, I would just love to show them that, like, real family does exist, like, real good loving parents exist. And so I would love to adopt, like, teenagers, especially, like, ones who, like, were in, like, really difficult, like, family situations before. I would just love, like, especially partially using, like, my psychology, like, my interest in psychology, my interest in, like, mental health issues, like, using that to help them. Like, yeah, I mean, yeah, I want to help teenagers in the way that people, like, that my own, like, counselor and people have helped me. So, yeah, like, I want to be there as a parent the way that my parents were there for me. So, anyway, that's my thing about kids. What was it like growing up as the oldest child? Oh, fun. But a lot of pressure. Like, my parents never necessarily, like, they didn't put pressure on me. And, like, which I'm so thankful for, because I know so many kids, like, actually have that pressure. I just put pressure on myself. But, yeah, and so, like, growing up as the oldest was, like, fun, but I was always taking care of my younger sister, which I think has, like, contributed to my desire to help people. But I was always just, like, watching out for her, but then at the same time, she was my best friend. And she still is. And so, yeah. So, I really like being an older sister. It's really fun. It's pain sometimes when your younger siblings are fighting in the car and you're like, just be quiet, and then your sister's like, fine, then you sit in the middle, and I'm like, bro, I'm not sitting in the middle. Yeah, Bella, you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, so yeah, I think things like got slightly harder when my brother was born, like, because I was really good with him, like, not to flex or anything, but I was kind of good with him when I was, like, when he was really little. And then he got to, like, I'm trying to think, like, age 5, and he just started being really, really difficult for me to get along with. I mean, that was when I kind of started disconnecting from really everyone, and he started getting, like, more difficult to take care of. And so, like, that was, like, when I moved to boarding school. I just really lost connection with him, because it's hard to stay connected with a 6, 7, 8-year-old when you're, like, when the only contact you have is over the phone. Like, because a lot of what, like, 6 to 8-year-old boys want to do is run around outside with you and show you stuff. At least for my brother. And so, because I couldn't physically be there with him, I feel like I lost a lot of contact. Anyway, that was really sad. Okay, let's not think about that right now. I'm on a Friday morning. Okay, do you wish you had more siblings? If so, why? No, probably not. At least not any younger siblings. I kind of have sometimes wished for an older brother, just like, kind of like, I don't know, it would be nice to have someone be protective of me rather than me being protective of them. I don't know. If my brother, I've thought about this before, if my brother had a twin, oh my gosh, I cannot imagine, like, the chaos in our household. Like, Ben times 2? Oh my gosh. Yeah, so anyway, no, I don't want other siblings. I'm glad my mom is no longer going to be having any more. So, yeah, sorry, Mom and Daddy. Glad you're not having any more kids, though. Yeah. Okay, next on to random questions. If you only had one sense, like physical sense, which would you want? Touch, probably. Like, physical touch is so important to me. Sorry, I'm eating my chocolate mousse still. Physical touch is so important to me. It's my love language, so yeah, that's probably the one that I would want to keep. Although, smell / taste, bro, I love food so much. I mean, obviously I'm eating chocolate mousse while recording this, and I'm about to go to lunch with my roommate in, like, 20 minutes at, like, the more, like, bougie place on campus. So yeah, but yeah, physical touch, very important. What are you most proud of in the last year? Okay, this is another kind of deep one. I'm very proud of consistently going to therapy, and actually, like, getting help for, like, my mental health issues, because at junior year and even sophomore year, I was a scammer. I was like, I'm not going. I don't need to, or I'm too busy, or making any excuse I could to not go. And so I didn't, and things got really bad. And then senior year, things got bad to the point that that we had to, like, have, like, an intervention or whatever, and my parents were like, okay, you're going to therapy, and I was like, but I don't have time. And they're like, that's a scam. You're going. So yeah, that's what I'm probably most proud of. Like, because it's hard. It's really hard to even want to get better at points. So yeah. Yeah. Okay. So next one. Do you live by any piece of advice or motto? As Tyler the Creator would say, if you do on yourself, and I live by that. No, that's not what I live by, but okay, maybe it is though. No, I think I probably just live by the motto of like take it day by day. Like just take it one step at a time. Like if you look at everything that's happening at once, you're just gonna get overwhelmed. So you really just need to like just take it day by day. Don't rush yourself. And honestly, like that's just really helped me. Like making lists is something I really enjoy doing when I get stressed, and so yeah, just taking it one checkbox at a time. So yeah, that's probably something I live by. It's probably not something I like really live by, but it's something that's been helpful to me for me to like tell myself in the past like few years. What is your biggest irrational fear? Trypophobia. Bro. Small holes. Like, oh my gosh, even just thinking about it, oh, I'm getting uncomfortable. I'm getting like literal shivers. Oh, you. Gross. Yeah, oh, oh my gosh, I'm like literally like cringing so much. Small holes are disgusting. That's it. Like, that's that on that. Period. Final. Like, no one can tell me otherwise. They're, ugh, gross. Yeah. So that's irrational. I know it's like linked to like a fear of like disease or whatever, and like the association of like holes with disease, but oh my gosh, it's disgusting. Okay, I can't keep talking about this. I'm getting so uncomfortable. Okay, if you could go back to any time in history, where would you go? I would go to the 1960s because fighting for women's rights and like just fighting in like the civil rights movement would be so much fun. Okay, not fun. That's a really bad word to be using for something that serious, but it's something that is just so important, and it's like such a big part of history, and even nowadays it's still like obviously the movements now are so necessary, and so yeah, I just that would just be something that would be so like meaningful for me if I could participate in those movements back then. um At a party, where can someone find you? You can't. I could not go to a party. And if you did, it would probably be like crying somewhere. Michael in the bathroom by himself. Except I'd probably be with my friend and she'd be like trying to like calm me down or whatever, and just me, just take me home. I want to go home. Yeah, so, okay. This next question is kind of weird. I don't know why this is like a question. Do you wash your legs in the shower? Yeah, of course. Girl, if you don't wash your legs, like, that's just crusty. Like, I don't understand how people don't wash like every single part of their body. I mean, maybe it's just like my OCD being like, you have to get the germs off, but like, wash your dang legs. It's not that hard. Like, it takes literally like 2 seconds. I mean, like, especially if you're like going through like a period of time where it's like colder, like in the winter and stuff, and like if you're not shaving, okay, I mean, not to say that you always have to do, like, you do have to be shaving if it's like not winter or whatever, but if you're not shaving your legs, it's the same situation as your hair on your head. It gets greasy. Your skin has oil on it. Wash your legs. That's that. Yeah. Sometimes I forget, like, cause sometimes I'll be like, oh, I shaved, but that's like, it doesn't necessarily just cause you like got like some soap on your legs, like, so that way like it wouldn't like be like hard to shave, doesn't mean you really would washed your legs. So yeah, but Wash your legs, people, please. I'm begging you. If I ever like date someone and they're like, oh, I'd never have washed my legs in the shower, I'm gonna be like, get those nasty legs away from me. Okay, that's not true. I'll just be like, please wash your legs then. You're making me uncomfortable. Okay. Who will play you in the movie of your life? Barrett Wilbert Weed. Okay, I know there's been like controversy in like the Broadway fandom about her. But I think she's amazingly talented. Pretty cool. As far as I know. I mean, obviously she could be actually problematic. And then yeah, so that's Broadway actress. And then Keira Knightley would be amazing to play me like in like a movie. She doesn't even look like me. Cause like, yeah, but she's really pretty and it'd be cool if she would play me. Or gosh, what's her name? Shoot, my brain just went blank. She plays Maria Hill? Is that her name? Girl? I don't know. In not Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Avengers. Well, and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Yeah. But whoever plays her, because my brain went blank. She would be really fun to have play me. I mean, is she in her 40s and I'm 19? Yeah, but she's still cool. Okay. Do you have any allergies? Yes. Yes, I do. Everyone out there who's listening to this who knows me in real life is like, bro, yeah, we know about your allergies. You don't have to bring them up again. Yeah, so I have anaphylactic reactions to sesame oil and sesame seeds, tree nuts, but not all tree nuts. We can't figure out which ones because I haven't actually gotten physically tested in a while. And then coconut. That one really is awful. The coconut, like, because I'm able to have like coconut milk cooked and stuff, but then like, yeah, I don't know. It's very upsetting. And then I also have something called oral allergy syndrome, which basically means that because of like the grass, like the type of pollen that I'm allergic to, I can become allergic to basically any fruit or vegetable at any time. So I've gained fruit allergies over the years and it's horrible. I also am lactose intolerant and I have a super sensitive like stomach like to oil and like really acidic foods, and I just constantly feel like I'm gonna throw up. Like it's kind of awful, and so I really have to like watch what I eat or else I just feel sick all the time. Which is probably why I always feel sick at college, because I do not watch what I eat, and at like 1 a.m. I'll be eating with Cheez-Its in my bed. So yeah, that's my allergies and my other food sicknesses, diseases. Oh, ew. Okay, I can't say diseases. That makes it sound like something really serious. No, it's just allergies plus other problems with digestion. Okay, which fictional character do you relate to most? You already knew I was gonna bring up Broadway characters. Probably from Be More Chill, definitely Jeremy. Yeah, I love the script, but I don't relate to him that much, usually. And Dear Evan Hansen, I relate to both Evan and Connor. In Heathers, I relate a lot to Veronica. And then in Star Wars, I relate to Kylo Ren because he's like, bro, I don't think I can do this, and everyone's like, then don't do it, and then he does it anyway. Girl, don't do it. I did it. Yeah, basically all the characters I relate to are just people who just kind of don't like themselves. But then they end up, like, in the end, like, learning a lesson about, like, who they really are. And, like, learning to accept themselves. And becoming more confident. So, hopefully that'll happen at the end of, my life story. I'm still 19. I or 18. I have a lot of time to figure that out. Okay, what, if anything, would make you walk out in the middle of a movie? Secondhand cringe. I get really bad secondhand cringe, and if it's bad enough, I probably would stop watching. That or, like, very graphic anything. Like, I just, no. Yeah. Okay, when was the last time you cried and why? This week, because I just felt horribly sad. We love that. Next one. Do you stan any celebrities? Not really. I'm not a stan kind of person. Okay, that's a lie. I kind of stan Will Roland. A little bit. Mike Feist, Ben Platt. Basically just Broadway people who are like completely unproblematic. Like, I don't stan any like actual celebrities. Or like even stan, like, I don't even stan any YouTubers, just because, like, you never know. People are problematic. And like, that's like expected or whatever. That like people are problematic, which is awful. Like, you don't want to have to assume the worst, but I don't know. I just feel like stan culture is setting you up to be disappointed. So, yeah. So I don't really stan anyone. I just appreciate their art. What's your go-to midnight snack? I will literally eat anything, any time of day. I don't care what it is, unless it's like a food I don't like. But sometimes I'm definitely feeling like more sweet stuff, and sometimes I'm feeling more salty stuff. I think that's a sign of being dehydrated. I think that's what craving sweet stuff is. I can't remember. I've definitely looked it up before, but basically I'm unhealthy. Okay, I'm not physically unhealthy. I eat unhealthy stuff. And yeah. So I eat unhealthy. The basic story is I eat unhealthy stuff all the time. Like, all day. Which is really bad, and that's because I skip meals, which is also very bad. So anyway, okay, I gotta hurry up. My roommate's gonna come back soon, and I have to go do my laundry. So, what's the weirdest thing you do when you're alone? Talk to other people in my head. I talked about that earlier, but yeah, I talk to people, like real people in my head, but not real people that I actually know in real life usually. So yeah, it's very weird. What's the dumbest argument you've ever been in? Oh my gosh. Anna and Bella, if you're out there listening, y'all know this one. Once my sister, Bella, was like, so our friend Anna was like staying over at our house for a week because her parents were away. And so, this is really funny. We were like so mad at the time, but this is so funny now. So my mom was like, Bella, you need to go take a shower. And Bella was like, I don't want to, because Anna and Elizabeth are like playing or whatever. And my mom was like, Bella, you're going to take a shower. And so she did. But like, Bella was like, you guys can't have fun without me while I'm in the shower. And so she went to go take a shower. And then me and Anna, being petty, a petty like 8 and 10-year-old, of course, had fun. And then Bella was so mad. Which, like, yeah. So anyway, that was probably one of the dumbest arguments I've ever been in. Besides that argument with my friend Luke, that, oh my gosh, that strawberries are a fruit. Bro, wild times in that biology class. Yeah. And then this is gonna be my last question, because I have to go, but, what's your favorite story about yourself? This is so dumb, but me peeing my pants. Like, you guys are probably like, oh, so what's the story? No. Like, this is not a one-time thing. I peed my pants multiple times. Like, growing up, I just don't think I had control over my bladder or something. It's because I peed my pants all the dang time. Like, probably every day. Almost. Like, even if it wasn't, like, a full-on, like, pee, like, I would do, like, a little trickle. Like, and, like, that was problem up until like around 8th grade. And like I have like, I mean, usually like I can tell now like when my bladder is full and whatever, and I can tell like when I need to go to the bathroom now. Obviously, I mean, I would hope so. I'm 18, but yeah. And so like I used to just pee my pants all the time. And so basically like when I think of my childhood, I think of peeing my pants with my friends and then pretending I didn't. Or like, but like around like my sister and then like Anna, our like best friend, like I was comfortable being like, I peed my pants again, and then they would both be like, get wrecked, you peed your pants again. And like we all knew it was a thing I did. And like, yeah, so anyway, that's probably one of my favorite like just things in general that I did when I was younger, just because it's so funny. Another favorite, like this isn't a favorite story, this is another favorite thing that has happened multiple times over the course of my life. Me getting mad at minor inconveniences. Like, oh my gosh, I just will get so mad at like the smallest things. It's like, usually, I mean, it doesn't even have to have been a bad day, but it's like something small will happen and I'll just go off, all for no reason too. It's very funny. Like there was this one time where I was having an awful day. I mean, granted, this was sophomore year when I was just generally not doing good, and it was like raining outside, and I'm walking down to my algebra class, and then I slip and fall right on my butt, like on the stairs. And I just kind of sit there for no, I didn't even sit there for a sec. I just like, I was so angry about it that I just got back up and kept walking, like as if nothing happened. I was so mad. So I don't know what that was supposed to prove, because it didn't prove anything. But I was so mad about it, like so angry. Yeah. So I guess that with that I'm gonna wrap up the episode. So yeah, thank you guys so much for listening to my little podcast, I guess. Thanks for giving me a space to talk about me peeing my pants until age 14, and yeah, just tune in next time. I'm gonna be, hopefully, as far as I know, as far as I have planned, I'm gonna be talking about psychology and personality typing, and kind of like comparing different personality typing like methods. So yeah, so next time come back to hear me say some more dumb things, and hopefully actually say some more important things than, you know, peeing my pants and what makes me angry, like entitled people. So yeah, have a good day. Subscribe, please leave me a comment, and like let me know, like DM me on Instagram or whatever, and just let me know what you think I should do for like future episodes, because I have ideas, but like I need some like funny ideas, because I have like a bunch of serious ones. But yeah, so just DM me, or if you know me in real life, text me or like call me and just say, hey, your podcast is awful, you need to make it better. No, please don't, I'll cry. No, just yeah, so subscribe, leave a comment, share this podcast. I know it kind of like isn't good right now, but like once I have a few episodes up, then share it. Don't share it yet because it's not good right now. And yeah, let me know if you have any like suggestions for ideas for episodes, or just in general ideas for how to make my podcast better, which includes audio quality, by the way. So tell me if this audio quality stinks, and I'll change up my setup or whatever. So yeah, have a good day, have a good life, and I'll see you next time.